it's so good to finally meet you in person. It feels like I've known you for so long.
I know.
Thank you for coming all the way from Tyler, Texas to do this for us because we really want to share your story and your journey through Amen Clinics. So let's start off by asking you, how do you feel about your journey before Amen Clinics?
So before I discovered Amen Clinics, I actually discovered it online. I was just like trying to figure out what was going on, with my health. And I found a podcast interview with Dr. Amen, and it all just seemed to make sense. Because before that, I was just going to a psychiatrist and they would just prescribe me a medication and throw different medications at me. And I was having all these negative symptoms. One even sent me to the ER with a panic attack. And it was just such a struggle. And so once I saw the podcast, I was like, okay, this makes sense to actually look at what is happening in your brain and then fix it that way. And I talked with my husband and I was like, we can either, I can either ride this out for the next 2 years or I can do something about it. And, I found this Amen Clinic where you can go actually get your brain scan. So that's kind of what, led me here.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you chose us for that because there's so many people that suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Dr. Amen's podcasts have reached so many thousands and thousands, million people all over the world. So I'm so glad that you chose us to take care of your brain health. And some of your symptoms were revolving around sleep and lots of different issues. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about your journey with us. Did you get a SPECT scan?
Yes.
Tell us about your findings on SPECT scan and how you liked getting it.
So the scan itself was super easy. The staff were super nice and welcoming, and the scan didn't take long at all. You just laid on this little machine for the 2 scans. And then I had my initial consult with you, and it was over Zoom. And I was just pretty blown away at just everything that you recommended. So I would say before this, I was either, going to my psychiatrist, trying to figure out a medication regimen to help, or I was on Google trying to buy all these supplements.
Trying to be the Dr. MD yourself,
trying to figure it out myself.
Oh gosh,
I'm going to go all natural and do it. I don't need these medications. So I was either trying to do one extreme or the other. So I remember my first consult with you, you said, based on my findings of my brain scan, there were parts of my brain that weren't getting blood flow to them. There were the part that is supposed to work for thinking and processing was not working like it was supposed to be. And then the parts with, anxiety and depression were basically stuck on. And we
on a fight or flight mode.
Yes, it was just stuck
so
that
overactive.
way. So it was, reassuring for the first time that something was wrong. It wasn't just me being crazy or, and even the PTSD thing, I didn't even know, and then you recommended EMDR therapy, which, it's been a year, almost a year and a half since I first started seeing you. And I was able to work with a therapist and do EMDR therapy and kind of, help with processing old events and things like that. So for our initial consultation, I remember just being blown away at you recommending, there's things you can do, supplements you can take, natural ways you can help by yourself by getting more, better quality sleep. What are you eating? What is your diet like? Do you have time to work out? Do you have time to get a little bit of movement each day? So that's something, anyone can do. But then you also, weren't against taking pharmaceuticals if you need them. Mm-hmm. And I remember just being like, wow, this is a balance. It's something, sometimes you need some extra help and that's okay.
Absolutely.
And I remember you just being so compassionate and you just saying, it's normal to feel this way. You're not crazy. We're going to get you feeling better and we're going to do it slowly. And, there's no one magic pill that's going to fix anything. And I think in today's world, we just want, one magic pill to fix.
We want the quick fix.
We want the quick fix. And that just doesn't, exist. So from that day, just the scan, just seeing it and seeing, if you have a broken bone, you get an x-ray and you see you have a broken bone to fix. So we got this scan and we were able to see, look, these are your parts of your brain that aren't working correctly. Now here's what we're going to do to fix them. And since then, we've just been working on it. And I feel like I have my old brain back.
That's so good to hear. I'm so glad for all this progress you've made, for all the time together we've spent. To be honest, I want to share something with you. You know why I feel that I related to you so much is because I felt that I did go through the same exact thing postpartum.
Yeah.
And when women in postpartum period are not heard because it's either all about the baby or it's all about this is going to be better, you don't need more help, we went through this, you're going to be fine, are just pushing the problems under the rug.
Yes.
So the very first step of believing in the Amen Clinic's model, trying to come listen to the podcast is number one. Getting a brain scan and trusting in the process is where I feel so happy that you did this for yourself.
Yes.
And you're not alone, because most of the patients that come here are either thrown several different medications out of them. We hear that very often, so that's not rare. And when we try to target more on, let's revamp just your lifestyle. If you don't want to try anything else, let's just work on the basic biopsychosocial spiritual model. When we can see even like a 50% change in just 6 weeks, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I had never been asked that before by any doctor about my diet, about my sleep. Just making little changes, like at 9 p.m. I would share these things with you. At 9 p.m. I would lock my phone in a box, or, at 9 p.m. I would make a rule, no phone after 9 p.m.
Exactly.
And I started getting better sleep, and just little, changes like that. I mean, just make a big difference.
So talk to us about the other things. How did recommending lifestyle changes or incorporating them help you overall with sleep, managing, improving your quality of life, being more attentive and being more available for yourself and your family?
Yeah. I feel like you just encouraged me through the whole process. So I remember, when I had a 3-month-old, obviously I wasn't going to the gym or anything like that. And you would just tell me, just getting a little bit of movement in the day, just going for a walk in the sunlight would help. Just
with the baby.
Yeah. Just getting sunlight in your eyes in the morning would help. Making sure to drink water during the day, to stay hydrated. These are all things we forget about as a new mom when you're so sleep deprived. And something that I've just learned through the process is, I used to be so ashamed of needing help. So that shame is gone, because it's so important to invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
And I think, especially new moms, you can kind of lose yourself.
Yes. I know when we have a baby, our center of focus always is the baby and their well-being, and that they're fed and they're changed and clean. In that process, we lose our identity. Because even making small changes, like I'm going to give up the 7 or 8 cups of coffee a day.
Yes.
Because remember, we asked you to try to cut back.
Caffeine all day.
I know. And now you're only at 1 cup or half a cup a day, and you don't even need those pre-workouts anymore.
Yes. Oh, it was caffeine in the morning, caffeine during the day, pre-workout before.
It's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about the supplements you've added from any suggestions we've made, or any supplements that have particularly helped you during this postpartum journey?
Yeah, for sure. So, before I started this journey, I felt like every week I was ordering some kind of supplement that I saw on TV, just blindly. I didn't really know. I was just reaching out for anything that would help. After seeing my brain scan and you explaining how these supplements would help the blood flow in my brain or help calm these areas of the brain that are overactive, it just made sense to me why I was taking these supplements. So the first one was that Brain MD.
The Brain and Body Power Max.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you told me, your brain needs this to restore that blood flow. So I took those, and it just felt good to know that I was nourishing my body, even if I didn't have the best diet that day or something, that I was doing something to help my brain.
I'm so glad that we were able to get the right fit of the supplements to combat that diamond pattern that we talked about. If you recall from the diamond pattern, it's associated with past or emotional trauma.
Yes.
And we never realized as mothers that birthing, going through pregnancy, sleepless nights, and rearing a child or 2 children could be all emotionally traumatic and super heavy as birth.
Yes.
We could all have the diamond pattern, I feel. Because my brain has it too.
Yes.
Yes.
I remember it being surprising. but I also wasn't paying attention to my body or my brain at the time. I was
Exactly.
just, and I remember like when I first came to see you, I mean, my shoulders and like back were just tight the entire day, and so just, working through that. I mean, your body, I feel like, holds your trauma and holds your emotions, and just being able to relax my shoulders and just relax a little bit. I mean, just helps so much.
Yes. I remember also you telling me about how you would compare your life before having children and after, and how we kind of kept talking through the process of acceptance and how a mother's body changes and how we need to embrace all these little small tiny changes and look at our little ones and how we're rearing them and the reward we get from them.
Yes.
Because all these neurotransmitters in our brain kind of reset. Could you please tell our listeners how we got you off of the Adderall and what we have you on right now and what's helping?
Yes, for sure. So, gosh, that was such a process, I feel like, because I was so afraid that I was never going to be able to stop taking Adderall. And it had control over my life. I remember when we did the first brain scan, they tell you to be off your stimulants for 2 days. And so I stopped taking it. I could not make the drive up here. I had to pull over and take a nap. So I ended up missing the brain scan, and I call you guys crying, and I'm like, I had to take a nap. And they were like, just come on in. It's fine. We'll get you in. But I just felt like my body had been on that medication for so long. I was seeing more negative side effects than the positive ones, but I also felt so stuck because I had been on it for so long. So I feel like with the supplements that you put me on to kind of restore that blood flow to my brain and just have it naturally start working better, I was gradually able to get off of that medication. And we did it really slow. And you were like with me the whole step of the way. You never made me feel bad or judged me or anything like that. And eventually we were able, I remember I sent you the longest email.
I do remember that.
It had been like, I was like 2 weeks without Adderall and I felt great.
I felt so happy and accomplished for you as a patient to be able to acknowledge, first of all, people don't acknowledge that they've been tolerant or even like hell-bent on using their Adderall so much. You're admitting it, that you were on it, dependent on it. And the very fact that it took a while to come off of it, and you're so grateful for that. That's a huge step.
Yes. It's just not one thing that can affect you or one thing that's going to fix you. It's
absolutely
all the different things. And it's your body, it's your mind, it's your spirit. It's just everything. You have to work. You can't work on one thing and not work on another.
I'm so glad that here at Amen Clinics, we get 1,000 pieces of puzzles. And it takes a while to put the whole thing together.
Yes.
But when we have put the whole thing together, it's not only rewarding, but so accomplishing for you as a patient.
Yes.
And for us.
It's life-changing. Yeah.
On that note, I really want to give you a big hug.
Oh, I'm so happy to finally meet you.
I know.
Just
absolutely. Like, you feel more than the patient. I feel like your family.
I know.
Like I've known you for 2 years. And this is the best opportunity we could give you, is to talk to everybody about this. So I feel like I'm going to cry. But
I know.
Thank you so much for doing this.
All right. Thank you.